It's a new day, Noonan. Yes, it is. And I am the Velveteen Rabbit, the tortoise, and the hare. The man who wasn't there. And someone who some would call a square. I'm Noonan Time with Harold, and I like to rhyme at the beginning of my podcast introductions, my podcast. And today, I come to you in my studio, which is where I usually come, to talk to you about some very, very, very important things going on in the world today. Mainly something that's not going on in the whole world, but it's going on in our small town. That is called Golden's on the Square Restaurant in downtown Noonan is the theme of today's episode, because lo and behold, and be giveth thy glory, I went to Golden's on the Square restaurant. Yeah, I've been just calling it Golden's on the Square, but I'm like looking at an image of it right now in this very second. And I love that it says Golden's, and then in small text, it says on the square, and then it says restaurant in big letters. So it's like, maybe it's not called Golden's on the Square. Maybe it's called Golden's Restaurant, and then you say like on the square in parentheses. It's interesting when you look at the big old logo, the logie. When you hawk a logo, it's interesting that it's Golden's on the Square Restaurant. So that's cool. Other things going on in my life. It's been a week. It has been a week of Harold existing. For those who don't know who I am Noonan Time with Harold. I am who you go to when you want to know something, but you don't want to know it correctly. So it's like, let's say you're at home, you're a child, and you're like doing homework, or a better example would be like let's say you're a boy, 12, 13 years old, and you have a crush on a girl for the first time, Samantha. I'm going to say Samantha, and then I started saying Jessica, so we came up with Samantha. So Samantha in your class has been balling on them. She's been looking fine, and this is your first chance to really grab her attention because Samantha is single. Now, it's Friday night, you're at home, you're playing your Game Boy Color, and you get bored. This is the first time in your life you've been like, dang, you know what? I don't want to play my Game Boy Color. I wonder what that shawty be doing. And two people are in your house. Downstairs, watching TV, watching probably a true crime documentary, is your mother. Now, your mother is wonderful. Your mother is better than you realize she is. She has a hard time at minor inconveniences and gets upset about the little things. But when she is on, she is everything. She is like the kind of mom that you don't realize all your friends wish was their mom. She's just bam. And then in the kitchen, I'm swapping gender norms here. In the kitchen, cleaning, is your stepdad. Now, your stepdad, he's not super social. He doesn't offer a lot of information, but he makes you laugh, and he doesn't take things too seriously. And he's been there for you enough. He's there. He's not on an outsider, they're like, no one's like, damn, that stepdad is a problem. That's unhealthy. But no one's impressed. If he posted a TikTok where he adopted you, it wouldn't get a whole bunch of hearts. It would be like, all right, cool, he seems fine. I guess it's better than not having a dad. And you have to decide, who am I going to ask advice from? Am I going to go to my mom, who is just this gem that, yeah, I've had her in my life, my entire life, from start to 13 years. So I don't appreciate how good she is. Or am I going to go talk to my stepdad, who's only been around for a year and 8 months? So whatever that is, 20 months, and get kind of bad advice, but advice that, might work out under the right circumstances. So who Noonan Time with Harold is I'm neither of those two people. I am your uncle. So that's how I would describe me. It's a metaphor. I'd hope you get it. And I serve Noonan, Coweta County, Fayette County as a constant source of light and humor and love. So if you want to feel love and laugh and have a good time, I'm the one to call. If you want to have a good time, call Noonan Time with Harold. Does that sound freaky? A little bit. That's okay. I love freaky. I ain't like real freaky. Like it ain't nothing like if you're really into wild stuff. Like let's say you're 23 years old and you're up in your room playing with your Game Boy Color. And downstairs in the living room is like a BDSM expert, someone who's they're just laying there chained to the floor, covered in leather. And then in the kitchen is a missionary who specializes in only missionary position. See, I'm neither of those two people. I'm your uncle. I'm your uncle. Man, I wish I could say I planned that joke out to have them both connect like that, and then it'd be an uncle as creepy joke. But I didn't have that planned. It just works like that. Bam! Of course, you can find me at Noonan Time with Harold. That's Har old. Hair old. Not like hair, but Harold. Like it's Noonan Time with Harold, but it's Harold is how you would actually pronounce the word Harold. So Noonan Time with Harold.com. Noonan Time with Harold on Facebook, and Noonan Time with Harold on that old Insty. Instagram, whatever. Instagram's not super fun. I get bored with Instagram. And of course, you can find me right here where you're listening, Noonan Podcast with Harold. And if you want to hire my company to do trivia, improv, stand-up, I can officiate your wedding. Go to highspiritsentertainment.com. High spirits, like you're staying happy. Like I'm in high spirits. That would be highspiritsentertainment.com. Now, of course, today we are talking about a restaurant I went to for the first time about a month ago. That would be Golden's on the Square restaurant. I have a friend who shall remain nameless. Renamed mainless. I like that. That's funny. Shall renamed mainless, named Angela. And she had invited me out to lunch and told me I could pick anywhere I wanted to go. That we could do Spray Berries again, or I could pick one of my favorite places. But to me, what I wanted to do, since I wasn't going to have to pay and I was going to have a good bit of company there that I like, I wanted to try something different that I've never tried before. And I wanted to support the local community that is Golden. And so I said, I want to go to Golden's on the Square restaurant. And we did it. We planned it. We met up around, it was a Wednesday, around 1 o'clock. Because I specifically remember that because I was like, hey, I'm actually ready at 12:30. And they were like, well, we're not because we are hiking. And look, I found some snakeskin, is what my friend Angela showed in a video. That's a little bit of behind the scenes. Angela, when I said that, was like, here's some snakeskin. Can't be there at 12:30. So, which hopefully she washed her hands before she went to Golden's on the Square restaurant. But it's very possible that there are snake germs just all over everything now. Just little snake germs. Have I told you? I think I talked about this on the podcast. When I was a kid, I actually believed that germs were tiny little men. Like I'd picture them as like little Spartans with like spears and shields and helmets and stuff. Because there's a commercial that I saw as a child, must have been like 7 or 8, where it like had somebody's arm and then it zoomed in on their arms, and on their arm you could see all these little soldiers like running around fighting. It was like, germs fighting your health? All you need is this soap. And so in my head, since I was dumb, I thought, I didn't understand like a metaphor or, creative storytelling. I thought, oh, big yawn. I thought, wow, germs were tiny little people. So my point is that I think snake germs are probably tiny little snakes. So if you get like a magnifying glass and you go around to places where someone was touching a dead snake and then they touched, you find tiny itty bitty little snakes kissing and kissing about on all over the surface. But anyways, we went to Golden's on the Square, and what I was expecting, I have a whole review about this. So what I'm basically going to do today is I'm going to give you like a abridged version of my review. And I'm going to read some reviews, and I'm going to read some comments about Golden's on the Square. But what I was expecting, and again, my review is found on noonandtimewithharold.com. I was expecting like a tiny little, maybe Fabiano's size. So, because like Fabiano's, not counting the Alamo section, like when I'm picturing them, Redneck Gourmet is pretty big. Meet and Greet's pretty big, but it's like spread out in a lot of ways. Fabiano's is one of the smaller ones. It's not as small as like a Whimsical Cafe or like a Knife and Stone, but Fabiano's is kind of small. And so when I was picturing Golden's on the Square, I was picturing this little cafe type feeling, like Cracker Barrel meets a Goodwill, and then they try to open a bed and breakfast. Does that make sense? Maybe that's a terrible example because Cracker Barrel, Goodwill, and bed and breakfast are all really large places. So probably a terrible example, but it's what I'm going to stick with. Cracker Barrel. Okay, let's say Cracker Barrel, Goodwill, and a bed and breakfast try to open a tiny house to Airbnb out to people. That's what I pictured for Golden's on the Square. I was thinking like one waitress that comes around and was wearing like a, what do you call the pattern that looks like a picnic blanket? Is that plaid? Is that plaid? Is that plaid? Plaid? Let's look up. I think it's plaid. Plaid picnic blanket. Yeah, that looks right. Yeah. So plaid. So like a little plaid apron and stuff. And she's just like, "Hi, sweeties, welcome to Golden's." And takes your order, brings you like free tea. I picture like this nice little bumbly little bumble place, which is not the kind of place I want to go to. I do not really like Cracker Barrel. I do not love going to Goodwill. I've never been to a bed and breakfast, and I think a tiny house would make me feel cramped. So in theory, I wasn't going to like this place. But then you get there, you get to Golden's on the Square, and this place is ginormous. This place is huge. This place is like a Goodwill. It's just this big open space, really tall ceilings, cute little decorations, an elevator, a whole like buffet bar area, open kitchen. Like the only part of all of Golden's that was cramped, and I mentioned in my review, is the hallway to get to the bathroom. Which I guess, the way it's designed, there's not really a way around it. But it's one of those situations where I need to go to the bathroom. But wait, a lady is walking out of the ladies' bathroom. Well, I gotta wait. So it's cramped, and it's kind of a long hallway because this place is so big. So that part, that was weird about the layout. The elevator being there isn't like labeled. It doesn't say elevator down to Oink Joint. At least I don't think it did. So I had to ask. I was like, "What? Is this an elevator? Why is there an elevator here?" And they had to tell me. But it's just this big place with all this space and all this room and a big old like a soda machine station in the middle of it for you to go and get your refills and your ice and your condiments and stuff. And then they've got some employees that are just moving around with carts that just clean up as they go along. But it was not at all what I expected. Something called Golden's on the Square restaurant just sounds like it would be small, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I sound like a fool. But in my head, this place was going to be tiny, and it wasn't. It was big. It was big. And there was a lot of food options. You get there, and it's like a buffet style, but it's not like a buffet where you grab what you want. You tell the person behind the counter, which shout out to Eli who worked there. Just a great dude. Love to meet him. I remember his name. And then shout out to the lady who checked me out. Not checked me out, but like checked me out. Like, hey, you can pay. That's called checking out, right? Cashed me out? No, it's checked out. Yeah, like at the checkout at the restaurant. The person at the register who did not check me out might have checked me out. She did call me Noon and Time with Arnold, and I was literally wearing my shirt that said Noon and Time with Harold on it. And she was like, "Oh, aren't you Noon and Time with Arnold?" And I was like, sure not that, sweet lady. So if she was checking me out, she did not check out my chest where the word Harold was clearly written, but she was super kind. All the employees there, super great, super chirpy. Chirpy is the right word for it. And since I came at 1 o'clock, you'd think that's after the lunch rush. I don't know if they really get a lunch rush at Golden's. Who knows? I don't know how busy they get. So you'd think, right after that lunch dip that people would be grumpier and sully, but they weren't. They were delightful. I ordered my food. I got to pick a meat and some veggies and a salad. I think I got a roll for free or something like that. I don't remember. I don't eat just bread. I don't eat. I'm not a bread eater. I'm not a duck. So I didn't. If they did just give me a roll, I didn't eat it. So I don't remember if there was just a roll or not. But I feel like there was a roll. I got some mac and cheese. And then I ate it, and I sat with my friends, and a couple of the things that I didn't love about this sitting eating experience were, firstly, no music. It's just this quiet, and since it's so big and everything's so tall, it a little echoey of just like clink, 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 clink. But you can kind of hear people talking around. There's just no music. It's just kind of a dead vibe. Which, if you go with friends, it is your responsibility to make the vibe yourselves. You need to have fun with your friends, and that is the vibe you create. But it's nice to have a little bit of a inspiration, have some music playing. My friend's chair was sticky, which my chair was fine. My chair was perfect, so no complaints from me on chairs. But my friend was like, "Oh, my chair's sticky. I'm going to swap to a different chair." But whatever, he's fine. Food-wise, I had fried chicken. I had a piece of fish, mac and cheese, carrots, and a salad. And I think there was a roll. Pretty sure there was a roll. Chicken, great. Lovely chicken. Fish, perfectly fine. Macaroni and cheese, I'm not a super big macaroni and cheese guy. I'm a type 1 diabetic, so just shoving pasta in my mouth is not something I can really do. But, I can have like 3 or 4 bites before I start worrying about it. Mac and cheese was good. Carrots, very boring, very bland carrots. The carrots were the worst thing that I ate. They weren't even bad. They were just boring, right? It was just like, it tasted like it came from a microwave bag, which maybe not that bad, because they at least weren't like mushy, like those nasty microwave mushy bags get. And then the best thing I had was the salad. The salad they had there. And I don't remember what kind it is. There's a picture up on my review on my website. If you scroll down, you'll find it. The salad was so good. And again, I don't remember what was on it. I don't remember the dressings I picked. I don't remember the nuts. I know I put blue cheese on it. It was just crazy good. Best salad I have had in years. I cannot think of a better salad I've eaten in my life. And I bet that they have no special way of getting their salad. They probably have the same salad that you can get at Chili's and Apple Garden and all those kinds of places. But maybe it was just the right kind of mixture of leaves and nuts and gooeys. But that salad was so good. 100 points for having a good ass salad. Trying to think what my friends say. I think one had some sweet potatoes. One had some beans. I'm not a bean guy. I don't eat beans. Other salads. Salads are always good. So food wise, good. Perfectly acceptable. I always feel like places in downtown Noonan, and then just the Noonan area, don't flavor their stuff enough. It's just, you get there, you get the food. It's going to be the food that you ordered, and it's going to taste good for the food that I ordered. But if you want it to be flavorful and special, you have to make the right choices of salt and pepper and asking for things to dip it in, or asking for it to be cooked special. Like, not many people, except for Meet and Greet. I think Meet and Greet does it really well. Most places in Noonan do not want to take big chances on flavors. They're like, this is the food, and you can't eat it. But if you want it to be, we're just going to do kind of the bare. We're going to do like, not the bare minimum, but like the medium bare minimum, like shirt off minimum. Because bare be all the clothes. So it's like a shirt off, like a flash in your titties minimum of getting the food ready. So like I said, food good. It just wasn't brave. I want my food to be brave. I want to either love it or I want to hate it. I don't want to be like, yeah, I can mess around with this to make me love it or hate it. I want you to let me know if I should love it or hate it based on the way you prepare it for me. That's how I feel when I go out to eat. And maybe that's wrong. Maybe you don't agree with it. But I can, at home, go to the store and buy a piece of chicken. When I go to like Walmart and I buy a piece of chicken, I don't expect it to be anything brave and super flavorful. I expect it to taste like a piece of chicken. When I go out to eat and I order something special, I want to be like, this was Golden's piece of chicken. You know what I mean? So I think that's what is missing. That's my big complaint with Sprayberries, who I now love and will never talk bad about ever again because I promised on the internet that I wouldn't. I want you to convince me your version of this food is the best. They did it with the salad. As far as what I ate, they didn't do it with nothing else. But love them salads, I'll tell you. Love the drink machine, love the ice, love the fact that there's a Christmas tree there. So there was a lot of things I liked about it. My complaints come from things like the flavor problems, sticky chair that I didn't have to sit in, and just the vibe being like real quiet. It would have been cool to have like, y'all play some Nelly or something. You know what I mean? Where's the Nelly at? Anyways, so here's what we're going to do now that we have heard my review. And again, you can read my full review and my score. The score that I have posted for Golden's on the Square, the letter grade that I gave it, is available at noonandtimewithharold.com. Now, when I posted that I went to Golden's on the Square, we got a ton of feedback on the old social media of people who responded and wanted to share how they felt about Golden's on the Square restaurant. Judy says, "Are there once, never returned. Food was so-so. Sad face." I'm assuming she meant 8, but maybe she just went, "Are there once? Are there once?" I are there once. Like she was there once. Are there 8 there? I think the same point is given across. That the R and the T are very close on a keyboard is the main point I get from that one. Cameron says, "I always joke and say it's old people food, not my fav." Fine, I would agree. I think all this kind of food that falls into the not really flavored, you got to flavor it, or just deal with the fact that it isn't super flavorful. I think that does fall into old people food because old people are very judgmental about what they eat. A lot of people talked about the cornbread being great, the fried okra being great, the banana pudding being great. Didn't have any of those things, but I think I may have had the fried okra. Maybe. If I did, it was fine. Golden's is great, says Terry. Was there last week. The fried chicken is amazing, and the banana pudding is the best. Rhonda says, best fried okra. A celebration hat. What is that emoji? I don't know. Y'all can go look. Stephanie says, it is a fun local standard. Friendly service. Love the turkey and dressing. Good Southern Sunday dinner fare. Patrick says, it's old school after church cafeteria food. That definitely still has a place. No, it's not fresh or organic, but eating vegetables canned or frozen is still better than eating Burger King. Oh, okay. It is definitely better than Burger King. Greg says, love Golden's. Their mac and cheese is the best in Coweta. Their meatloaf and country steak are great, too. I didn't have the meatloaf. Country steak was good, though. Mac and cheese, like I said, good. Lisa says, while I haven't visited Golden's in about 15 years, seems like a good time to revisit. So that means you're welcome, Golden's. I have sent you one, Lisa. William says, I love it. I live down the hill from it, and it is one of my favorite spots to bail on cooking and get a meat and 3 veggies for the evening. Teresa says, a huge variety of food. You can always find something good. Their coleslaw is awesome. Friendly people, too. Even the little lady that cleans off the tables. Super friendly and always has a smile. Well, I didn't get no little lady. I got a tall, handsome man who cleaned off my table. But maybe somewhere in there was a little lady. I missed her if she was there. So those are just some of the comments, the many comments. There's like 100 of them on my social media Facebook page. But let's do what I love to do. Let's plop on over to Google Reviews and read some of the worst reviews and some of the best reviews. And even though a lot of the most entertaining good and bad reviews are going to be all over the time span of the world, we are going to focus on most recent. These are the newest reviews of Golden's on the Square and what people thought about them. Anita says, great food, nice people, good prices and portions. I recommend the fish and meatloaf, and the butter beans are great as well as the desserts and salad. But it is an old building that is quite dark. But everything is really clean, and the staff asks you quite frequently if you need anything and if it's good. So, 5 stars from Anita. I think I'd agree with, maybe not 5 stars, but I agree with the comment section of what she is talking about. Y'all need to turn them lights on, man, and get some music. Play that funky music, Goldens. Ow. Play that funky music, Goldens. A month ago, Stephanie says, clean and quick Southern food, several meats, and several slices. Sisses? She doesn't say sides. But again, the S and the D are very close on the keyboard, so you are forgiven. You pick your plate. We'll eat here again. Great for friends and family. 5 stars. Everything good flavored, says Elise. Got the fried chicken breast. It had good flavor, but was dry and hard around the edges. Would try the meatloaf or turkey and dressing on next visit. Sarah says, excellent customer service, good food, and good prices. Again, the I and the O are very close on a keyboard. So saying good instead of good, you are excused. Cold Fox says, everything we purchased was enjoyed by the entire family. This restaurant is always a go-to for 100% Southern cuisine. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I am several months into reviews, and I can't find a bad one yet. Everything is kind of positive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just scroll. Let's see how far I have to scroll to find a bad review recently of Golden's on the Square. All right, we're at 5 months ago. Still 5 to 4 stars. Gonna keep going. Here we go. 1 star 6 months ago. Barbara says, awful. Nothing like home cooking. I almost threw up. The reviews are misleading. So dang, Barbara is popping y'all something. They almost threw up. I can't imagine, and I think this anytime I hear about like a restaurant and someone's like, oh, that food made me throw up. As someone who has thrown up a lot and with a lot of health issues, most of the time we throw up, it is not because we ate one thing and it just made us immediately throw up because it was bad or it made us sick immediately. Like, yeah, sure, food poisoning exists, but we throw up for a lot of reasons. You may have thrown up because you've been taking 19 different types of prescription pills before you came and ate at Golden's on the Square. I'm not saying Barbara is addicted to painkillers, but I'm not saying she's not addicted to painkillers. All right, let's keep scrolling, see if anything else pops out. Here we go. Here's a 1 star from 9 months ago. This is not Southern food. I know what true Southern cooking is. It isn't this place. No true Southern cook would put sugar in green beans or cornbread. My Southern grandmother would be rolling in her grave over this. I love that. I love the phrase that when somebody who's dead will be rolling in their grave. The idea that something is so bad, so frustrating, that a dead person hears about it in the afterlife and is able to summon through paranormal powers and the mystics, or if you're religious, I guess they ask God. We can take that approach. That dead person's like, that food is not true Southern cooking. God, can I return to my body momentarily and just like shake about it? And God's like, you know what? Typically, I don't do that. You've passed, you're in heaven or hell. But considering what Southern cooking is supposed to be, yeah, I'll let you go roll around a bit. But then come right back. You come right back after you roll around in your grave. Can you imagine? That's so funny. All right, let's keep scrolling. We're almost a year of reviews, and we have found 2 negative reviews. That is one of the more impressive feats that I have seen in all of these Google reviews that I have. Like when I go through and I read Google reviews for a business of downtown, there's a 3-star, but I mean, 3 stars is still average, better than average, right? 2.5 would be average. 5, 5, 5, 4, 5, 5, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Oh, this guy says delicious food and multiple options and posted a selfie of him and his wife and kid. I'm assuming it's his wife and kid. Maybe it's not. Oh, here we go. A year ago, Julie says, had the ribs and they were terrible. No flavor, a lot of gristle. I didn't eat the ribs, but I will agree, lack of flavor. But I am a personal man who loves him some gristle. I like the gristle. Hanley, when we have meat and it's got gristle on it, she'll take like a knife and she'll cut the gristle off and like push it to the side or like put it in a different container. I'm like, what are you doing? That is the best part. That nastiness of it all. Michelle, 2 years ago, 1 star. She wrote nothing. Service, 3 out of 5. Or the service, 5 out of 5. Atmosphere, 5 out of 5. Food, 3 out of 5. Recommended dishes, mac and cheese, 1 star. I just don't think Michelle knows how Google reviews work. Michelle. So again, we are at 2 years, and on Google reviews, that is all the negatives. So I think what I have discovered. Oh, here we go. Here's one more from 2 years ago. Mystery meat appeared to be a meatloaf block. Mashed potatoes bland. Hubby had turkey casserole of some soft. Oh, okay. I looked at the keyboard. The F and the R are very close on the keyboard. So I think she meant to say turkey casserole of some sort. But I don't know. Maybe Shelly's hubby got some real soft turkey casserole. And of course, she wrote, average prison food served here, ! Recommended dishes, fried okra. Never been to prison. I'm sorry for Shelly, who has been to prison and knows what the food tastes like. Anyways, if you want to learn more about what I thought about Golden's on the Square, which has now become one of the places in downtown Noonan that I will return to, hit up noonantimewithharold.com. It is currently our featured post on the website is our Golden's on the Square review. You can, of course, go to the review section to read all my reviews that have been posted recently. What kind of reviews will you read? You can read Golden's on the Square. You can read Blue Dream Smoke and Vapes, Sprayberries Barbecue, Taco Mac Noonan, Great Wolf Lodge LaGrange, Taco Azteca, Leaf and Bean, Longhorn Steakhouse, Line Creek The Reserve, Whataburger, Cuts and Comics, Whimsical Cafe, Zocalo Mexicantina, The Redneck Gourmet, Dynasty, CJ Smith Park, A Guide to the Alamo, and many, many other reviews are available on Noonan Time with Harold. I need to update them. Like, my reviews are kind of old now. A lot of those. Like, I am a different kind of person now, so I might like them more. Anyways, that's it for today. I hope you had a great time. I hope you get out and vote for the next mayor of Noonan. Otherwise, I love you, and I will dream a dream I've dreamt so long, and that will be about you in my arms.
I die.